All right. Hello, everybody. This is coverage of the 2021 Casuals Tournament. I am joined by Walter Wight, the myth, the man, the legend. How are you doing?
I don't know about that. Thank you very much. I'm doing good. Great to hear from you again, and excited to kind of watch these. It's been a few months since they occurred.
Yeah, it's been almost a year, but yeah. So I'm just going to quickly go through the precedents of the tournament. It was basically sort of in the wake of the Myth World Cup from last year. We had some basically three teams that had a realistic shot of winning the tournament. The other three teams, which were basically our team, Team Ice Cream, even though I shouldn't say our team because I don't think I played MWC at all last year, but we could talk about that later. Avon's Grove, Dunshire Coneheads, which was a team composed of basically everybody who wasn't on a team. There were a lot of people who wanted to play some reg games, and I basically came up with this format, the casuals only tournament. Just so we could have some somewhat competitive reg games, but in a very relaxed atmosphere. The structure of the tournament is that everybody started with 7 lives. When you lose a game, you lose a life. There are a bunch of different bells and whistles, but that's it in a nutshell. When you run out of lives, you're out of the tournament. And let's see here. Yeah, we were so casual that we passworded the game. I think if I recall correctly, the password was casuals or something like that.
I think the first week we passworded it, and then it was just like, nah, let's just open it up. And because we started hearing from other players that they would be interested in just
Oh,
playing casually. So I think the password may not have even made it into the second week.
okay. Yeah, that's true. I remember some people being a bit angry, so yeah, we did open the game up. So I did have some commitments from some of these players. I should have just opened up the paint, but I don't know if you can read this, but this is sort of the tentative list of players, people who said they would play. Whether they showed up or not, that's a different story. But at least tentatively, we had you, Walter White, General Pepper, Overdose, Reekfish, MP Phil, Sunny Days, Selah, Sephorescent, Spy, Father Xmas, Buffalo Bill, which I believe was Drunken Deer, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Gerald, Detriment, Gabba, General X, Jakku, Foss, Taro, Vigor, and Zathras. So, we had a pretty good mixture, I think, of all the three different teams from MWC. Of course, I'm talking about Spice. No, wait. Team Ice Cream, sorry. Avon's Grove and the Dunshire Coneheads. I think we had a pretty good mix. And the idea was to just get some good games going, and it is a
Shake
tournament
off
after
some
all.
of the drama that always occurs from MWC, you know? So just kind of enjoy some reg play with very few strings attached.
Exactly. So yeah, the way we chose the maps was essentially everybody submitted a playlist, and I through Excel, the rand between function, I just kind of chose some random games. The schedule for week one was yeah, well, we'll get to that later, I guess. I don't know, fumbling around this Discord thing, but at least game one for week one was King of the Hill, Fight a Trow, 10 players. Are you ready to dive into this?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, here we go. Alrighty, so yes, just like what you said, we have. Hold on, let me. Okay, we have Gently Killing, led by Sephorescent, Reekfish, Overdose, General Pepper, and Spy versus Team Say with Walter White, Father Xmas, MP Min Chip, and Sunny Days. So, Walter, what were your impressions on the teams?
I think off the bat, this is our first time kind of getting into it, and the team seemed, a pretty good mix. I would say that my knee jerk would be that Selah's team might have a little bit of an advantage, particularly with Sunny Days on the team, and then not really knowing what Sephiroth would do as a captain. But having Drunken Deer and Spy and Overdose and Reek, some very strong Team Ice Cream players on the other team, it's a really interesting balance.
Yeah, and by Drunken Deer, I think you meant General Pepper. I don't
Oh
believe.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Buffalo Bill was not him. It was just the same color. You're right, General Pepper.
yeah. And so this might have been no unit trading, because I just see one Trow on each side. Let's let's look at the distributions really quick. It looks like we got Reekfish with the Soulless, and then
Game
some
on.
various players with artillery. Yours truly Overdose with a couple of Warlocks, and oh my god, why do I have 17%? And then on Selah's team, we have Walter Wight, you with the Trow. We got Father Xmas with some artillery, Sunny Days with some artillery, Selah with some artillery, and who's on soulless duty? Father Xmas. So he's got Father Xmas has quite a handful of units. We'll see what happens, but it seems like you guys are making it to
Flag
the flag
captured.
first.
In
You
some
know,
early seconds, yep.
yeah, which are very. I mean, it is I guess a 9-minute long game, so I don't know how crucial those few
Flag
seconds are. But the
contested.
fact that we were late to the flag, definitely not a good thing. Spy, of course, with the Trow, he's good with that kind of stuff usually. But let me pause it right here, like what we did with the other films. Is there any sort of commentary that you have with the way the units are making their way to the middle, or the formations and that sort of thing? Yeah.
Right now, yeah, it seems just the fact that Selah's team has more up to the flag really at this point and is kind of getting in better position immediately is also telling. So, well, they made it to the flag first. They also are kind of getting into like good kind of even sides of north and south of the flag.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, a game like this is really just a rush to the middle, and then you have your artillery fight on either side of the river and that kind of thing. One difference I will say is that the Mercridia for Team Sephiroth are kind of tucked behind here. Do you think that's the optimal? Well, it seems like they're running to the mid, but
I think it puts Spies Trow in a hard place, particularly just kind of knowing that we have so many more Mercridia and a Trow in the middle. So assuming that I can do something with it, I should have a bit of an advantage over what Spy has in the middle right now.
yeah, I mean, it almost seems like you guys should have just rushed it. Get those Mauls in there, get those Mercs in there, but who knows? All right, are you ready to kick
Let's
this
do
off?
it.
All right.
Let's take a look.
Let's see what happens. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of keep the camera here. I don't think there's really much of a point in moving it unless something crazy happens. But yeah, we got the openings of an artillery fight. It seems like everyone's just kind of setting up still. Since it's my film, I'm probably just gonna tag my own guys really quick. I don't know what I'm doing there.
Flag lost.
Looks like Spy lost all of his Mercridia.
That's one thing you want to be careful of too. And so when you kind of said it might have been nice to rush in early,
Contested.
really at this point it's kind of a battle of artillery and who can get the most pot shots off Solus wise on the respective or the enemy
Flag
Trow.
captured. Flag contested.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is interesting. We have Spy with 2 Dwarven Mortars
Flag
and the Trow.
lost.
Do you think it was a mistake to
Flag
have him sort of
contested.
multitasking like that?
I think that's always going to be a difficult position for any player, even one that's very familiar with Reg. But I think Spy is always going to be
Flag captured.
a
Flag
threat with
contested.
fewer units.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. What do you think about Reekfish's decision to just get all up in that with the Soulless? Do you think he's a good position, or do you think he's
I think
exposing himself?
I think he's running into some issues that could get him pretty well blasted as long as Sela's team can, not give up too much time on the flag. Um, I mean, he's getting some good shots in on my Trow, obviously,
Yeah,
but
you guys are
um, but
both
he
pretty orange.
but we're putting ourselves into a much better position at this point to basically potentially kill Reek in one good shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Flag captured.
Yeah, so it
And
looks
and
like.
Father Xmas is but that was a very good Wight.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. And that was a
Flag
pretty nice
lost.
shot.
Flag contested.
Yeah, now we got the mauls going in. What do you think about Sunny Days Mercuridia just kind of standing off to the side for most of the game? Do you think he could have utilized those a bit better? Oh, I just got blasted.
No, I don't. I think that judging by the no unit trading, it's the Mercridia are going to eat up malls, and so the second that this rush happens, this is where 20 Days Mercridia really get to just kind of annihilate. And so Mercridia against these types of heavy artillery units can, quickly go berserk on themselves. And so it's important to, if you can, to keep Mercridia back for late in the game like this.
Okay, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, looks like we have some Mercuridia going wild on these artillery units. Sunny Days. Oh, that's you, Walter Wight, killing some artillery. Good work by you. Looks like there's another one. Oh, that's Sunny
Now
Days.
here's the push.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think at this point it's kind of over because you guys got all the units right.
Yeah, but once you can kind of get enemy locked kind of position behind their own units, they become very non-effective.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's pretty much over at this point. We got 3%, 1%. We got a Wight and a Soulless. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. Well, the time, the percentages, they sort of speak for themselves. 7 minutes to 3.5 minutes. It wasn't really a close contest, I guess. What were your impressions on the way this played out?
I think the first team kind of getting to the flag and kind of situating themselves well, and not getting too overly ambitious to rush was a huge thing. Just kind of staying in consistent position and slowly letting the other team make mistakes. I think that the team that made more mistakes is ultimately going to be the team that loses in a game like this.
Okay, so what do you think were the mistakes that Team Sephirescent made that led to their demise?
I think, like we were pointing out, not having the Mercridia up there as fast, getting Solus right in, kind of trying to push a little too heavily to make something happen with Reek's Solus, and then maybe putting their own Mercridia in negative position to slowly be picked off. And so I think you just kind of see these interesting shots that are made artillery wise by Selah's team that end up basically making the difference. And that truly is a matter of patience to ensure that you're not putting too much on the flag that can get hurt, but still keeping it pretty well contested. Like as you'll see, Spy and Walter both had Trow, and we have some of the weaker damage. But the goal of the Trow is really to kind of keep it contested, make sure you're blocking for your team, and kind of making sure that everyone else can kind of slowly pick away at the other team.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. So we noticed that both teams had sort of packs of Mercridia tucked away, and you did mention that saving them for the late game is always a pretty good move. What would you say to sending them around? Either through the north or through the south, or sending some kind of force to attack the flanks. Do you think there would be any value in that in a 5-on-5 game?
I think there could be, depending upon your player set. I think this is a map with a lot of units, and so when you only have, well, I guess with 5 guys, yeah, no, you could probably have someone monitoring that. It's always a very good practice if you can just get anyone into the backfield to just kind of create havoc. It's always going to cause a team to panic a bit, particularly newer players. And so there is value to it. Just how much you want to pull around, that would be the interesting, I guess, thing that you'd need to really scout and make sure that you're not setting your team up to be dismantled early on.
All right, yeah, that definitely makes sense. So I'm going to put you on the spotlight right now. Who would you say was the MVP of this game, and how did they turn the tide of the game in their favor?
Hmm. I would argue that Father Xmas may have been, just the way that he was playing the souls up until the Wight thing happened. And I don't know whose Wight that was, which was interesting because I saw um, Sephiroth's team I thought get another Wight out, but maybe I miss saw that. So I don't know exactly what happened to kill all of Xmas's souls, but up until then, he was a key factor in kind of making sure that Spy's Pro died first.
Okay, yeah, I mean, Father Xmas is definitely one of the better players, especially in a casuals field such as this. So having him on your team is definitely an asset, and he knows what to do with most unit sets, and he was able to pick away at Spy's Trow and you know get going on the throwing the poison darts or whatever those things are. So
That's not to take away from Sunny Days. Obviously, he did quite a bit with his RD to kind of get the damage and then, really clean everything up at the end with the Mercuridia. So, whole team. I mean, it's a whole team effort, I would say. But if I just had to point out just one particular star that I thought could have gone under the radar, I'd say Xmas.
okay, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, did you really expect anything less from Sunny Days? I mean, this is, even though he had a great game, it's sort of it's par for the course for someone of his caliber. It seems like so.
I think that could be true. Yeah.
Yeah, so perhaps the person who maybe exceeded expectations the most was Father Xmas, which isn't to say that he had low expectations, but maybe he's the one who outperformed, and that's why you gave him the MVP. But yeah, it was a solid team effort, and I think you guys definitely pulled that one out.
Now, would you say that either team was overweighted? Like it was clearly going to be Selah's team that won, or would you say that the teams, felt decently balanced?
I mean, the way that the game played out, I think the teams were decently balanced. But again, we really just knew Sephiroth from him dropping the greatest library around that time last year, and as far as him
Oh, that's
playing these
right. Yeah.
games, I don't really know what he was all about. So for him to be the captain of the first game, I would have said that during planning time, your or Selah's team was better, or they had the advantage in terms of players. But the way things shaked out, I think it was somewhat decently fair teams. Even though I still think your team or Selah's team, sorry, was still better.
Yeah, I think it played out well. So I think that's a good testament to your team stepping up as well to make it a game.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little back and forth. I don't think I don't think your team was really at any major risk of losing. It was more or less just kind of our team slowing the inevitable. But I think we did have some opportunities that we just we either didn't see or we didn't take, and
Whatever happened with that White again, that was a key moment, but it may
yeah,
have been too late.
I have no idea whose white that was. Could have been mine. Could have been. I mean, I'm guessing it was either General Pepper, myself, or Reekfish. Spy, he had his hands full with the Trow, and he had a couple of Dwarven mortars, and some of that sort of stuff. I'm pretty sure that white did more than 18 damage because it wiped out at least 6 or 7 of those things. So the damage doesn't line up for Sephiroth.
That's always the problem with how artillery is factored in reg as well. Like items on the ground, for example, don't always really generally positively impact your play. So, well, you may set up satchels all game long and make this incredible play with satchels or with throwing a mortar or something. You might not get as much damage as really you ended up doing to the other player.
Well, that's the way Bungie designed it, so that's what we get. But anyway, do you have any last remarks for this game before we move on?
No, I think it's just a great start, and I think it got everyone really excited to play more
All
of
right.
this nice casuals tourney.
Team eliminated. Game over.